Hi there, and welcome back to the channel. So I came back up here yesterday. I was going to make a video, and I was just messing around, just trying to get all the tracks sorted. And then as I was listening, I realized that I had forgotten the high harmony. I wanted to put a high harmony on the top of it, and I didn't film it because I just was standing here messing around with the tracks, going back and forth between the computer and the Zoom, and I had the mic, and I just quickly did it, and then I was like, I should have probably shot that, but it's actually, I don't like doing multiple videos of like the same thing. If I do vocals once, I just try to cram it all into one video, because it seems like the next video is just a letdown, because there's, why would you click on multiple ones of those? So anyway, what I was going to do is I'll play back that vocal track that I cut. Let me just turn on the machine, and I'm going to do a quick rough mix. It's going to be pretty close to the way it's going to end up. I call it a rough mix, but it's pretty much the way this one is. I feel like it's pretty much done. I'll probably be able to tell. I haven't heard it since I did that vocal, and unless something really sucks or something, I think I'm done with it as far as recording. And I want to get it kind of dialed in, because I was thinking about starting on the rest of the songs that I know are going on the record, starting to get those mixed and mastered. But then I had my new song really come through, so I just want to go right into working on that, because I can always do that mix and master thing. That's what I'll be doing in preparation to finish the record. Once I decide that all the songs that I want to contribute to it are done. I don't know if that'll be 9 songs, 10 songs, 8 songs. It just depends on when it feels like it's a completed thought. And I'm getting closer to that, and I've got a new song that feels like the last 2, so it's like a 3-song trilogy of kind of the same feel, which I do that a lot. Alright, so in order to play this back and make it sound as good as it can, the secret weapon is the mastering effect, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to turn everything off on the front row, which is my guitars and vocals and bass, and then on the second row, let's see what it is on that second row. I'm going to the track button. So on the first row, I have a Vox 1, which is just the main vocal track that I cut, and then I copied it, and I call that Vox 2, and it just adds like, 3 to 5 dB of gain overall. Doesn't double it because it's the same track. It's just giving you more. And I wouldn't do that, but it does help with the Zoom. The preamps are a little weak, and so I don't know why. It just sounds more robust when I do double things like that. I do it with the drums too. Okay, so I got Vox 1, I got Vox 2, which is just a copy. The next track over, track 3, I had the Vox double. This is where I went along and basically doubled the entire song. And at first I didn't want to do that, because I liked the idea of just my one perfect vocal track sitting out there with no double, because the double is kind of a, it's kind of a Band-Aid fix type deal, and it's kind of a hack. Like, it's always kind of a slight bummer when I've been enjoying a vocal for years, and one day I realized, oh, I double tracked it. That's why it sounds so perfect. It's double tracked, and double tracking kind of fixes the mistakes of the last one. They sort of merge together, but it creates a fatness that's very recognizable, especially if you get off the double track a tiny bit. You can hear that delay. But anyway, I don't care, because it gave it like a Monkey's Mickey Dolenz tone. It already had it anyway, but adding the double track just gave it more air. And there's not many words being sang. It's like just very minimalist words, minimalist lyrically. So it just needs to feel like an instrument, and the double track made it feel like an instrument. So track 3 is the double track. Track 4 is the vocal harmony, and that was the first one I did, which was just like one half step up from the, or maybe, about a half step up from the original vocal. And then I did harmony 2, which is the one I did last night, which is a full step up. It's like the high version. Can't remember if it was falsetto or no, it was like head voice. It wasn't falsetto. Okay, then I have guitar left, which was the left speaker, and then the right, guitar right, was the right speaker. And those are set up left and right. And then I have the guitar solo, which was the first little lead bit that I recorded. I recorded up to a certain point, that there was a natural break in the little lead part, It wasn't really much of a solo, it was just kind of a moment to have some guitar action instead of the vocal, to sort of replace that, you know, during a verse. And then during the chorus, I continued to play, but there was a break in the action, and during that break in the action, I took that moment to make a separate track, which is on track 9, and that's called Guitar Solo 2. And that is, the reason I did it separately is I wanted to be able to easily pan it here on the Zoom, if it interferes with the vocal in any way. Because see, on the first guitar solo, I'm not singing, there's no vocal there. So it can just take over the entire mid-range and do its thing. You know, it has the whole sonic palette to itself. Once I start singing, now we've got some counterpoint going on, you know, and it won't clash, you know, as far as the notes, but it might, one or the other might step on one or the other. And I found that the solution is to leave the vocal down the middle, but take the guitar part and left or right it. And now it suddenly sits there prominently and feels great, but it doesn't interfere. It's the weirdest thing. I never would have thought that would work, but I guess that's why, besides trying to manage tracks like George Martin with the Beatles trying to do 100 things on 4 tracks, the other reason would be to do things like that. So let's see, then we go over to bass. That's on track 10, and track 10 has the bass, and I doubled that as well just to make it more robust. So track 11 is bass too, but it's just a copy. It's not another part, just one part copied, and I did that in Audacity. And then from 12, 13, 14, all the way to 16, those 5 tracks are new takes. Then we go to the snare drum 1 and 2, the left overhead, and it's doubled. Then we have right overhead, left and right, those are doubled. And let me see, this is left. Yeah, so both of those should be panned the same way if I were to pan them. See, I don't like, yeah, it will be a rough mix because I'm going to be playing it back on mono and I don't want to start getting in all my panning stuff. I'm just going to play it back so you can hear the tracks. Okay, so there's the left overhead, right overhead, and then we have bass drum. So it was only 4 things. You have the snare, the left overhead, the right overhead, the bass drum, but each one of them is doubled. 2 snares, 2 left overheads, 2 right overheads, 2 bass drums. Okay, so let's start with those bass drums. I'm going to turn all the other tracks off on all of the banks except for 17 through 24, and that's where I always put the drums. Don't ask me why. I put vocals on the front row, I guess because I'm a singer or, you know, vocalist, and then I put the drums on the back. And I usually put like extra guitars, bass on that second row, and sometimes I'll leave them, you know, the rest of the tracks blank like I've done already. Okay, so we're down on we're going to do the drums first. I have the little KV3 on. I'm going to go to the effect button and I'm choosing mastering. Now on the input screen you want to make sure it says master, and before you do anything else, bring down the red fader. I've already got mine down, but if you're doing this at home, it'll blow your ears up, blow up your monitor or whatever if you've got it cranked, because we're about to add a lot more gain. Alright, so you're going to go down to edit with the arrow and hit enter. Then I'm going to go 50-50 on the hertz, that's fine. The high is 5, mid's 5, low is 5. So they had it like 2, 4, 2, 6, 10 or something crazy like that. 10 is way too much bass. For me at least. Now we're going to go high, mid, low, same thing, 5, 5, 5 on the next high, mid, low. Then on the normalizer I have the gain on 0. The 3-band EQ 555, treble, the level I'm sorry is 62. Type of dimension reso type is off. The patch level is 24. You can mess around with that. I've had luck with messing around with that before, lowering it for a certain effect. And then finally the ZNR, that is off. And so we're back around to the beginning again, so I'll hit exit. Exit. Okay, and then let me just rough this in here. I'm going to put the headphones on so I will hear the headphones, which will sound better than that. You'll hear that, obviously. I'm just going to get the drums kind of roughed in, then I'll start adding stuff. Okay, that's acceptable drum levels. I didn't want to push it too far. I do like the way those drums sound though, but I didn't want to push it too far so that everything else starts to get louder too to compete with it, and then we're just pushing levels and everything sounds like a mess. I've got the master level at like -10 right now, so it's down quite a bit from unity gain at 0. Okay, now maybe I'll add bass in next. Let me see what this is. I'm kind of confused as to where the tracks are. Okay, maybe I was in the wrong spot. Okay. Oh, I see. All the bass is over here. Okay, it's in 10 and 11. Duh. Sorry, I'm going to go back. Now I add guitar in. Okay, I'm going to bring everything down just a tad because it's hot. I like making things loud. Sorry. Poor diction. Okay. And really quickly, let me just show you what I did with the vocal. I'll turn everything else off, which is usually a nightmare for a singer, but I don't care. Okay, tracks. Vocals are all in the first 4 box 1, box 2, double, harmony, harmony 2. Okay, so in the first 5. Okay, so I've got them on. Here in the mirror, that's the double. Did you notice me? So you can hear the double track. Ooh, like a razor, slash me, cut me up. Ooh, like a razor, Here I am lonely. Here I am. So one of them goes really high. Here I am. But it'll be low, so hopefully it doesn't sound too weird. Okay, so now that we've heard, it on its own, let me remove those from the situation for a second, and let me just mix back in after I've pulled those drums down. I'm going to pull the bass down too. Okay, so that's kind of a mess trying to get all that together, but let's just see if it sort of plays a little better than that. This sounds really loud, like it's just off the chain loud. Let's see if I can bring it down just a tad without losing too much. Okay, let's see if that improved things at all. And now it's pretty rough. Okay, here we go. Okay, hold on, let me just take it back. Those guitars need to be up so that there's some ass there. Stratocaster lore, Bill Carson, who they named a Strat after him, he had his own Strat. Oh, I don't know, only a few were made, but the Bill Carson Strat, I guess it was redone maybe in the 90s or something. But he wanted the Stratocaster to have the tremolo, so that the vibrato, so that you could get the sound of a slide guitar. So he could get double booked, instead of having to have a Telecaster and a slide, you just bring one guitar and you can do two jobs. But that really does, at the very end, I just did a meow. It's a nice way to end a song, and it really does sound like somebody's coming in with a slide. It's kind of cool. Alright, so that is the song. The only thing I forgot to do is that one of the harmonies I don't sing on the chorus. I could go back and do that, the higher harmony, the one that's not super high, and that high one I'll just put it in there, just a little flavor, just so you can tell that there's something going on, but it won't be prominent. And I'm sure it sounded crazy through that speaker, but that's the whole song all assembled. It's kind of weird when you hear it all done, and I'm fine with it. I think it's fine. I'm just going to keep moving, because I have a new one I'm excited about. So I'll be able to assess this in the upcoming months as time goes on. I'll be able to tell which songs are, have staying power and which ones are just experiments. Alright, thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate it. See you next time.